Theories of Conservation and Scientific Restoration from Gustavo Giovannoni's point of view. Table of Contents. After the introduction, the biography and theories of him and Camillo Buito, then the scientific restoration and explanation of specialized words, and the fourth part is the international charters of conservation of historic buildings, conclusions, and references. Abstract. Gustavo Giovannoni, the Italian architect, urban designer, and restorer who was born in Rome and studied civil engineering at the University of Rome, became the professor of architecture department in 1905 and latterly the dean of the same university. He edited a set of regulations that were adopted in the Athens Charter later in 1913. His four main principles are restoration by consolidation, installation, liberation, completion, or renovation. Although he established a scientific center for studying history of architecture and published several articles in various architectural journals, there is little literature about his biography and theories on conservation and scientific restoration. This article tries to enlighten how his theories affected the history of conservation. For this aim, his biography and theories are mentioned in detail. The methodology of this article is a qualitative survey using the reliable books of libraries and first-hand resources and references. Keywords: Gustavo Giovannoni, conservation, scientific restoration, the Athens Charter, international charters, Camillo Buito. These are the two pictures of him. Biography of him. He was an Italian architect, urban designer, author, and architectural historian who was born in Rome in January 1873 and died in Rome in July 1947 at the age of 74. He graduated from the University of Rome in 1895 with a degree in civil engineering and received a degree in public health before studying traditional art and architecture under the supervision of Adolfo Venturi, the Italian art historian. In 1899, he was a pupil and assistant of Guglielmo Calderini, the Italian architect, in the School of Engineering, and in 1905, he became a professor of architecture. Strong technique along with traditional art led him to major in restoration and major urban redevelopment projects. In 1910, he became a representative of AACA, which was founded in 1890 to spread awareness of cultural and historical heritage and promote the theoretical foundations of restoration in Rome. His theories, which originate from his artistic and technical experience, can be seen in his work when he was working simultaneously in part of Caprera in Rome and in Peroni's house in 1909. While he was the head of a company, he also obtained the chair of general architecture at the Faculty of Engineering of Rome in 1913. The research done by Antonio da Sangola, second Giovannoni, an Italian architect who combined archaeology with the scientific arts, sparked interest in Gustavo Giovannoni. The idea of Renaissance architecture inspired Giovannoni to pursue architectural education. In 1918, he founded SSA through the AACA and then gave a conference on the restoration of historic buildings at the Institute University, and he became the dean of the faculty from 1931 to 1935. He was an architect and member of the Academy and special member of Lazio. He was one of the leaders of the association in the main branch of the Vittorio Veneto headquarters at the age of 20. In 1913, he became a professor of architecture at the University of Rome and together with Marcello Piacentini, an Italian urban theorist, he published the journal Architecture and Decorative Arts in 1921. He was one of the most passionate preachers of the Faculty of Architecture in Rome, where he taught courses about the restoration of historical monuments. From 1921 to 1926, he was in charge of the Roman section of the CAI, Italian Alpine Club. From 1927 to 1935, he was the director of charge of the Roman section of the School of Architecture in Rome and founded the Center for the Studies of the History of Architecture. He published the journal Palladio in 1937. He is the author of many articles such as Through the History of Architecture in 1913, Deep Understanding of the History of Architecture, articles on Renaissance architecture in 1931, and the restoration of historical monuments in 1945. His architectural achievements include the Toloronia building, the establishment of Birra Peroni, the Church of the Guardian Angels in Rome, and the Torlonia Villa in Formia. Recognizing the history of architecture in combination with a treasure trove of technical information, Gustavo Giovannoni linked the fields of restoration of cultural heritage, urban planning, and architecture as a scholar, researcher, and urban designer. He paid attention to the relationship between new and old contents in the urban fabric of large cities. The two of his fundamental interventions are entitled Old City and New Construction and Delusion of Old Buildings. He was also one of the first conservationists with the message of protecting the natural landscape in 1939. His four most important principles are restoration by strengthening, restoration by setting up components or anastylosis, restoration through liberation, restoration by resorting to completion or renovation. Gustavo Giovannoni, a successful Italian architect and restorer, established scientific restoration and introduced the principle of pruning by completing and refining the theories of Camillo Buito. He proposed a theory for the modernization of historical sites by observing their old identity, keeping away the main circulation paths from historical sites, preventing them from being cut off by the streets, improving social and health conditions, and protecting historical buildings by destroying the less important structures to create spaces. He considered the theory of Eugène Viollet-le-Duc to be unscientific and to cause distortions and arbitrary interventions. But like Camillo said, he emphasized visual values and sudden surprises due to the contrast between the magnificent palaces and the minor architecture and architectural order, which must be studied obsessively. Influenced by the theories of Camillo Buito, which distinguished between the old style and the new style used to regenerate a historical monument, he saw a conflict between the two concepts of life and history. Life means meeting the requirements of modern development and life, and history expresses the observance of historical and artistic values and the environment of ancient cities. The city has developed over time and different styles have been represented in different eras. According to Gustavo Giovannoni, the main goal should be to preserve the originality of the struggle and observe the whole artistic life of the memorial, not just its identity in the early stages of construction. Here are the references, and thank you for your time and attention.